The vegetables in your refrigerator right now, the ones you added specifically to get healthier, may be the exact reason your kidneys are getting worse. 3 vegetables you must eat. 3 you must never touch. And the difference between those two lists could be the difference between stable kidney function and a dialysis chair. My uncle learned that the hard way. He cut the meat, doubled his vegetables, drank his water every day. His doctor praised him. His creatinine told a completely different story. Within months, his kidney function had dropped to dangerous levels, and nobody had warned him that the spinach and beets he was eating daily were the problem. Here's why that happens. A damaged kidney is no longer a perfect filter. It's a torn sieve. Excess potassium, oxalates, phosphorus, minerals a healthy kidney clears without effort, start piling up in the blood instead. And certain vegetables dump those minerals directly into a system that can no longer handle them. The wrong 3 accelerate that damage silently. The right 3 do the opposite. They lower creatinine, reduce inflammation, and take real pressure off what kidney function you still have left. One of them is so cheap and overlooked, you've probably walked past it 100 times. Let's get into it. If you want my free kidney warning signs checklist, type the words kidney checklist in the comments right now and I will send you the download link personally. Completely free. Just 2 words, kidney checklist, drop it below and let us get started. And to understand that, you need to understand what the kidneys are actually doing inside your body every single minute of every day, and what changes when they start to fail. Your kidneys are 2 fist-sized organs sitting just below your ribcage, one on each side of your spine. Most people don't think about them until something goes wrong. But silently, constantly, they are doing some of the most critical work in your entire body, filtering roughly 200 liters of blood every single day, removing waste, balancing minerals, regulating fluid levels, and keeping your internal chemistry stable enough to keep you alive. When they're healthy, this system is remarkable. Precise. Self-correcting. But when kidney function starts to decline, whether from diabetes, high blood pressure, chronic inflammation, or years of undetected damage, that precision begins to break down. Here is where it gets dangerous for you specifically. A healthy kidney can handle excess potassium, oxalates, and phosphorus with ease, processing them, filtering them out, and moving on. But a kidney operating at reduced capacity cannot do that anymore. It loses the ability to clear these minerals efficiently. And when that happens, the minerals that healthy kidneys would have quietly removed begin to accumulate in your blood instead. That buildup is what drives creatinine levels up. That buildup is what causes swelling in the hands and feet. That buildup, left unchecked, is what accelerates the progression from early-stage kidney disease toward dialysis, sometimes far faster than anyone expected. And this is exactly why what you eat matters more now than it ever did before. Because certain vegetables, ones loaded with potassium, oxalates, or phosphorus, that a healthy body handles without a second thought, become direct threats to a kidney that can no longer filter properly. Every time you eat them, you are adding load to a system that is already struggling to keep up. But here is the other side of that same truth, and this is the part one want you to hold on to. Certain vegetables do the opposite. They actively reduce inflammation inside the kidney tissue. They lower the mineral burden instead of adding to it. They support filtration rather than overwhelming it. And for kidney patients who make the switch, who remove the wrong ones and add the right ones, the difference in creatinine levels, in swelling, in how they feel day to day, can be significant. That is what this video is built around. 3 vegetables that work in your favor, that you should be eating regularly if protecting your kidney function matters to you. And 3 that are working against you right now, that need to come off your plate today, not next week, not after your next doctor's visit. Today. By the time this video ends, you will know exactly which vegetables belong in each category, why they affect the kidneys the way they do, and what you can do starting with your very next meal to begin shifting the load off your kidneys instead of adding to it. That is what I am here to give you. Let's get into it. Before I give you the list, I need to address something directly, because if you've spent any time watching health videos online, you've probably already felt it. Confusion. One video tells you beetroot is a superfood. Another tells you it destroys your kidneys. One channel says celery juice cures everything. Another says it puts you in the hospital. And you're sitting there wondering, who do I trust? Here's the honest answer: both can be right, for different bodies. The research on general nutrition and the research on kidney-specific nutrition are two separate conversations. A food that reduces blood pressure and supports heart health in a person with fully functioning kidneys can simultaneously overload and damage kidneys that are already operating at reduced capacity. This is not a contradiction. It is biology. What I'm giving you today is specifically for people whose kidneys are already under stress. People with CKD, elevated creatinine, declining GFR, or a diagnosis from their doctor that their kidney function is not where it should be. If your kidneys are healthy, some of these rules shift. But if they're not, this information matters more than almost anything else you'll find on this topic. Now, let's get into the list. Number 3, red bell pepper. I'm starting with number 3 instead of number 1. Because number 1 is the most overlooked vegetable in this entire conversation, and I want you to understand why it's earned that position. Red bell pepper sits at number 3, and it earns its place for a specific reason. It gives your kidneys something they are chronically starved of when function declines: antioxidant protection against the inflammation that drives scarring. Here's what that means in practical terms. Your kidneys are made up of roughly 1 million tiny filtering units called nephrons. Each one contains a delicate cluster of blood vessels, the glomeruli, where actual filtration happens. In CKD, these vessels become inflamed. That inflammation triggers scarring. And once a nephron scars, it does not recover. The GFR, your glomerular filtration rate, the number your doctor watches most closely, drops every time another cluster of nephrons scars over. Red bell peppers contain compounds, specifically lycopene, vitamin C, and beta-carotene, that research associates with reduced oxidative stress in the kidney tubules. They're recognized by renal dietitians at organizations including the National Kidney Foundation as one of the most consistently safe choices for CKD patients because they combine low potassium content with that anti-inflammatory profile. Low potassium matters because, and we'll cover this more when we get to the dangerous list. When kidney function declines, the organ loses its ability to efficiently remove excess potassium from the blood. That buildup, called hyperkalemia, is directly linked to irregular heart rhythms and, in documented cases, cardiac arrest. Research published in peer-reviewed nephrology journals has shown that patients with CKD who experience even a single episode of hyperkalemia face a 60% higher risk of disease progression compared to those who don't. Red bell peppers sit at roughly 211 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams, well within the safe range for most CKD stages. Tomatoes, for comparison, run significantly higher and carry additional acid load. One practical note the original research supports: vitamin C and the antioxidant enzymes in bell peppers are heat-sensitive. If you cook them for extended periods, you degrade the very compounds you're eating them for. Eat them raw in salads, or stir-fry lightly. 2 to 3 minutes over high heat, maximum. And pair them with a small amount of olive oil. The lycopene in red bell peppers is fat-soluble, meaning your body absorbs significantly more of it when fat is present. I want to stop right here and hear from you. If what I just shared surprised you, type "shocking" in the comments right now. If you already knew this, type "I knew it." Just drop your word below. I read every single comment and I will reply to as many as I can today. Number 2. Cabbage. Cabbage is humble. It's cheap. It's not the vegetable anyone talks about at a health seminar. But in the context of kidney disease, cabbage does something that almost nothing else on a plate can do. It attacks the problem at the gut level, before the burden ever reaches your kidneys. Here's why that matters. One of the most underappreciated complications in CKD is a condition called metabolic acidosis. A state where the blood becomes chronically more acidic than it should be because the kidneys can no longer excrete enough acid. Research consistently links metabolic acidosis to accelerated nephron loss, muscle wasting, bone mineral depletion, and worsening fatigue. Patients describe it as a kind of fog, always tired, always sore, never rested. Cabbage is alkaline forming inside the body. It provides mineral compounds that help buffer excess acidity in the bloodstream and support the pH stability that enzyme systems inside your cells require to function. This isn't a minor convenience, it's a direct counter to one of CKD's most damaging secondary complications. The second mechanism is what I call the gut-kidney axis. In people with reduced kidney function, the gut microbiome shifts in ways that increase the production of uremic toxins. Waste compounds that healthy kidneys would filter out but compromised kidneys increasingly cannot. Those toxins leak back into the bloodstream, creating a second wave of inflammation inside the nephrons. Cabbage contains sulfur compounds, including glucosinolates, that research suggests help reduce harmful bacterial populations in the colon and improve the integrity of the intestinal lining. When less toxin enters the bloodstream, less toxin reaches the kidneys. The workload decreases. Cabbage also provides meaningful fiber, which matters for an additional reason. Insoluble fiber has been shown in CKD research to increase fecal potassium excretion by promoting colonic potassium secretion. In plain terms, it helps your gut remove some of the potassium that your kidneys are struggling to clear. That is a remarkable function for a vegetable that costs almost nothing. Preparation note: do not boil cabbage into mush. Steam or lightly boil for 5 to 7 minutes. Until it still has a slight resistance when you bite it. Overcooked cabbage loses the volatile sulfur compounds responsible for its most protective effects. And use no salt. Sodium is a direct driver of fluid retention and increased pressure on the glomeruli. Season with garlic, ginger, herbs, anything that does not carry a sodium load. Number 1, zucchini. This is the one. And I want you to think for a moment about what it looks like the last time you walked through a market. Zucchini. Sitting there quietly next to the bell peppers. Inexpensive. Unassuming. Almost boring. Most people with kidney disease walk right past it. Here's why that is a mistake. One of the central dietary challenges in CKD is potassium control. Most vegetables contain potassium in amounts that, consumed regularly, can push a compromised kidney toward hyperkalemia. Zucchini contains approximately 260 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams. One of the lowest readings of any vegetable, and well within the range considered safe across multiple CKD stages. The National Kidney Foundation specifically lists summer squash, including zucchini, as a kidney diet-appropriate choice. But low potassium alone doesn't explain why zucchini earns the top position. What makes it exceptional is its full nutritional profile for someone managing kidney disease. Zucchini is also very low in sodium and phosphorus, both critical restrictions in CKD. High phosphorus accelerates the bone and vascular damage that worsens as kidney function declines. High sodium drives fluid retention and directly increases glomerular pressure. Zucchini avoids both problems simultaneously. It also provides soluble fiber, specifically pectin, that forms a gel in the digestive tract. That gel binds to certain waste products of protein metabolism, including some urea precursors, and carries them out through bowel movements rather than allowing them to re-enter circulation and cycle back through the kidneys. This is a measurable reduction in the kidney's filtration burden. And here is the practical reality that matters most: zucchini is filling. One of the most dangerous dietary traps for kidney patients is hunger. The feeling that a restriction diet means constant deprivation. Zucchini is high in water content, provides volume, takes on the flavor of whatever it's cooked with, and can be used across soups, stir-fries, and steamed dishes without adding any meaningful mineral load. For a kidney patient managing a restricted diet, that combination, low potassium, low sodium, low phosphorus, gut protective fiber, filling, is nearly impossible to find in a single vegetable. That's why zucchini is number 1. Steam it for 5 to 7 minutes, or include it in soups. Avoid deep frying. The goal is to preserve its compounds and keep its mineral profile intact. Let me stop here for just 1 second. If what I am sharing right now is making you think, wait, I might actually have some of these signs. Then your next step is my Kidney Warning Signs Bible. It goes 10 times deeper than this video. It has a full body symptom chart, a stage-by-stage breakdown, and a doctor visit prep sheet so you know exactly what to ask your doctor. It is only $27 and the link is in the description below. Seniors around the world are saying it is the best $27 they have ever spent on their health. Now let us keep going. Now we come to the part of this video that I need you to take seriously. Not with panic, but with clarity. Because the 3 vegetables I'm about to name are widely considered healthy. They appear on superfood lists. They're in green smoothies. They're in hospital cafeterias. And for people with fully functioning kidneys, they may well deserve that reputation. But for kidneys that are already compromised, the science tells a different story, and I want you to understand that story from the mechanism up, not just as a list of things to avoid. Number 3, celery, specifically raw juice. I need to be precise here, because the comment sections of videos like this one often erupt in confusion on this exact point, and that confusion is partially the fault of how the topic gets presented. Whole celery, used in moderate amounts as a cooked ingredient, is not the primary concern. The concern is raw celery juice, specifically the concentrated, large volume form that has become popular as a morning health ritual. Here's why the distinction matters. When you juice a large bunch of celery and drink it as a concentrated liquid, you are removing the fiber that normally governs how quickly minerals are absorbed into the bloodstream. Celery has a naturally higher sodium content than most vegetables, not dangerous in small cooked portions, but concentrated in juice form into a meaningful load. More critically, juicing concentrates the potassium from a large volume of celery into a small glass consumed rapidly. For a kidney that cannot efficiently clear excess potassium, that concentrated surge arrives faster than it can be managed. The fiber that slows mineral absorption in whole celery, the very mechanism that makes it relatively manageable as a cooked ingredient, is discarded in the juicing process. What remains is a concentrated mineral solution delivered to a compromised filtration system at speed. If you currently include celery as a cooked ingredient in soups or dishes, in small amounts, that is a meaningfully different situation. But if you are drinking raw celery juice daily, stop. The risk-to-benefit ratio for someone with declining kidney function does not support it. Number 2, beetroot. This one generates the most confusion, and I understand why. Beetroot has a genuinely impressive nutritional profile for healthy individuals. Its nitrate content supports blood vessel dilation. Research links it to improved blood pressure and exercise performance. For someone with functioning kidneys, it may well deserve its superfood reputation. But here is what that same research also shows. Beetroot is one of the most mineral-dense vegetables you can eat. A 100-gram serving contains roughly 325 milligrams of potassium. It also carries a significant phosphorus load. For a kidney that can fully filter and excrete these minerals, those numbers are handled without consequence. For a kidney operating at reduced capacity, the same numbers represent a spike that the organ may not be equipped to manage. The potassium surge from regular beetroot consumption in a CKD patient is a real and documented clinical concern. Research published in nephrology journals has established that hyperkalemia, elevated blood potassium, is associated with a 60% increased risk of CKD progression and is directly linked to cardiac arrhythmia risk in patients with compromised kidney function. The phosphorus issue compounds this. When phosphorus accumulates in the blood because the kidneys cannot excrete it efficiently, the body begins pulling calcium from bones to compensate. That calcium enters the bloodstream, and a portion of it deposits in blood vessels, a process called vascular calcification. Hardened, calcified blood vessels restrict blood flow to the kidneys, further impairing filtration, and accelerating the decline in GFR. Beetroot also contains oxalates. Which brings us to the most important vegetable on this list. Let me ask you something personal right now. Where are you in your kidney health journey today? Type one of these words in the comments. Type warrior if you are already dealing with kidney issues and fighting back. Type scared if this video is making you worried about your kidneys right now. Type protected if you feel your kidneys are strong and healthy. Type unsure if you honestly just do not know yet. Drop your word below. I want to see exactly where everyone is today. Number 1, spinach. Spinach is the most dangerous vegetable on this list for kidney patients. Not because of potassium. Because of oxalate. And I want to explain this mechanism carefully, because it is one of the most important, and least understood, dietary risks in kidney disease. Oxalate is a naturally occurring compound found in high concentrations in spinach, as well as Swiss chard, rhubarb, and certain nuts. In a healthy kidney, oxalate is filtered and excreted in the urine without issue. But in a kidney operating at reduced capacity, one where filtration is already compromised, that excretion pathway becomes increasingly inefficient. What happens instead? Oxalate binds with calcium in the bloodstream to form calcium oxalate crystals. Those crystals are sharp, microscopic. And when they pass through the delicate tubules of a compromised kidney, they do not pass cleanly. They lodge. They scratch. They cause inflammation. And that inflammation triggers scarring of the very nephrons that are already struggling to function. This is not theoretical. This mechanism, called oxalate nephropathy, is documented in peer-reviewed medical literature, including case reports published in journals indexed by the National Institutes of Health. One case involved a 68-year-old man with no prior kidney disease diagnosis who began drinking daily spinach-based vegetable juice. Within months, a renal biopsy confirmed extensive tubular oxalate deposits and acute tubular damage. A year later, he remained on dialysis, permanently. A second case report, published in a peer-reviewed nephrology journal, described a CKD patient who regularly consumed spinach and kale smoothies under the impression they were beneficial for his diabetes. Kidney biopsy confirmed calcium oxalate crystal deposits. Despite initiating hemodialysis, he did not recover renal function. These are not isolated curiosities. A review published by the National Institutes of Health found that dietary oxalate may account for up to 80% of the oxalate excreted through urine, far higher than previously believed, and that higher urinary oxalate is directly associated with worse kidney outcomes in CKD patients. This is the vegetable that people with compromised kidney function are most urgently advised to remove from their regular diet. Not reduce. Remove. If you currently eat spinach regularly, in salads, in smoothies, in soups, and your creatinine has been climbing, this is the first thing to address. Replace it. Lettuce, cabbage, and bok choy are low-oxalate leafy alternatives that provide volume and nutrients without the crystal risk. Before my final thoughts, I need you to do one thing right now. Think of one person in your life, a parent, a friend, a family member, who has been complaining about being tired, having swollen feet, or puffy eyes that will not go away. Type their name in the comments right now and write "watch this" next to it. You could be sending them something that saves their life today. So here is where we land. 3 vegetables that protect: zucchini, cabbage, red bell pepper. Each one addressing a different mechanism of kidney damage: potassium load, gut toxin burden, oxidative stress. 3 vegetables that accelerate damage: spinach, beetroot, and concentrated celery juice. Each one dangerous not because of general toxicity, but because of specific mineral and compound loads that a compromised kidney cannot efficiently process. Before I close, I want to say something I mean completely. This information is based on documented research and clinical case evidence. But every person's kidney disease is at a different stage, with different lab values and different comorbidities. The dietary plan that is right for someone in CKD stage 2 is not identical to the plan for someone in stage 4. Your nephrologist and your renal dietitian, a dietitian who specializes specifically in kidney disease, are the people who can take this general framework and calibrate it to your exact blood results. What today's video gives you is the understanding of why these vegetables affect the kidneys the way they do. That understanding is yours to keep, and to take into every conversation with your medical team. If this video helped you see something you hadn't seen before, share it with someone who needs it. And if you have questions about specific foods, stages, or lab values, leave them in the comments. I read every one. Take care of your kidneys. They are the filters your life depends on. Before you go, I need you to do 3 things right now. Number 1. If you want my free kidney warning signs checklist, type kidney checklist in the comments and I will send it to you right now. Completely free. Do not miss this. Number 2. Type the word strong in the comments if you are committing to protecting your kidneys starting today. Just strong. Let me see how many of you are with me. Number 3. Share this video with one person you love right now. One share from you today could save their life. I am Dr. Jessica Wu, and remember, you do not have to age quietly. Age strong. I will see you in the next video.